Sam Ewan from CoinDesk Studios here. I'm here with Trisha Martinez. Trisha is the managing director at Techstars. Very excited to talk to you about your experience, some of the stuff you're working on, why you're at Meridian. And I wanted to start because, looking at your history, you've done a ton of investing, you've been building in the innovation and technology space. I would love to just know what your role is at Techstars and sort of where are you focusing your energy these days?
Awesome question. So I generally like to start off by saying I'm obsessed with far out ideas that can change the world. So the crazier the technology, the more exciting to me, whether I'm investing or building. That's why I came to Techstars. So long story short, I'm a Techstars alum. I took my blockchain company through a Techstars in London with Barclays Bank. I came back to sit on the other side of the table as the investor, running a few different Techstars Accelerator programs. And I run one in particular, which is why I'm here, which is in partnership with Stellar and MoneyGram. We invest in fintech companies building on blockchain, specifically looking across the Latin American region. And for people who might not know, Techstars is the largest early stage investor in the world. We are pre-seed investors, so generally the first check into most tech companies. We invest in everything from consumer to B2B SaaS. I like to invest in things like deep tech, so novel breakthrough technologies that can solve some big problems.
And so if you're coming here, there's a ton of entrepreneurs and builders out in the other room. What type of companies are you looking for when you're looking, especially for the Stellar MoneyGram Techstars partnership?
So for that accelerator, we have a thesis specifically looking at fintech. So we want to see founders who are going after a lot of the underserved markets. We say Latin America, but honestly, it can be any underserved market. It could be across the US, it could be in other emerging markets. Founders who have discovered a unique problem, or I'll say a large problem with a unique solution. And so they don't necessarily have to be building on blockchain today. There could be an opportunity to build on Stellar or a different blockchain in the future, but they are really strong founders. That's generally the first check mark we want to see. People who can take something from a pure idea because they're so early stage, they can mobilize a community around them, they can bring in some venture financing and build a great product to solve a problem for customers.
And you mentioned earlier that LATAM is a focus for you. We've heard that a couple times actually here, amongst other underserved areas. What is it about LATAM that is so attractive to people building, especially in the payment space?
So I have a unique perspective. One, because I built a blockchain company throughout the sub-Saharan African region for about a decade. And I'm also from Mexico, my family is. So I grew up going back and forth, seeing the disparities that exist across the Latin American region. What's interesting when you compare various emerging markets, LATAM is blowing up. It's very robust. There's infrastructure, but a lot of the systems are broken and they haven't been designed for the everyday consumer or the everyday small business. Whereas in markets across Africa, there's not much infrastructure at all. It's a greenfield. You have a lot to build as an entrepreneur, which makes it even more difficult for a founder to be successful. So I think Latin America right now is at this point of rich innovation where we've seen some big wins, and a lot of companies now want to start building on top of that open banking system and utilize a lot of the resources so that we can scale and deliver good services to businesses and consumers.
That's wonderful. When I was also looking at your background, I noticed that a lot of your recent energy seems to be going towards AI, and yet you come also from blockchain. I'm just curious where and if, especially in your role, are you seeing interesting intersections between the two, parallels? Are they sister technologies? How do you look at these two coexisting?
That's an interesting question. So when I got into the blockchain space over a decade ago, we were also in the AI space. We were building AI solutions around the lending space for the consumers we were servicing in the sub-Saharan African markets. And there's definitely a blockchain ecosystem and there's definitely an AI ecosystem. What's interesting about AI is it's come through the academic world. So we have robust institutions and individuals who have been spending years and years investing in deep research around some of this technology. And now we're starting to see it come to light for the everyday consumer. I'll say that we're observing ChatGPT and there's a buzz, just kind of like when we had the ICO craze. Everyone started learning about crypto and there was a buzz, and it's somewhat of a bubble and it will disappear, but I think it's a positive for the ecosystem in that now people are learning about what this technology is and how transformative it will be. Do people need to know exactly how blockchain works or exactly how AI works? No. They need to know, though, that it will be with us and it will continue to be with us, and they should be aware of that.
And correct me here if I'm getting this wrong, but it feels to me that if you look at a blockchain like Stellar, we can use them as the example since we're here. You have a lot of founders who are saying, how could I utilize this toolkit and then build the thing I want? And that toolkit allows me to sort of have a system of rails that I can run a business on. AI, it feels like, is also similar in that not everyone is going out there saying, I'm going to build my own LLM.
Yeah.
But saying, how can I utilize a ChatGPT or an Anthropic or any of these other AI platforms to bring a business idea to life that might hyperscale me because it automates a lot of the stuff I want to do. So is that a correct way of thinking that these are both about building on top of other technologies versus replacing a technology?
100%. So it's infrastructure layer, and on top we have application layer. So, a lot of the blockchains, like Stellar, like Bitcoin, like Ethereum, those are infrastructure technologies, and we saw a lot of dApps coming out to build on top of them. Mm-hmm. Same in the AI world. ChatGPT, so Google, Amazon, OpenAI have been building, Microsoft have been building a lot of the infrastructure. They're still going to keep building it. It's extremely expensive to build. A lot of startups will not be able to build it. And in reality, where a lot of the revenue potential is going to be on the application layer, being able to bring to market technologies for consumers and businesses that enable or utilize this infrastructure.
Thinking of what you're seeing coming through the Accelerator or in adjacent ones, do you still think there's a big passion for both payments and projects to be built on chain?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think so like any novel technology space, there's a lot of questions. Mm-hmm. And experiences like the Meridian help founders understand how to navigate the complexities of a technology like Stellar. Yeah. Stellar does such a great job at opening up this ecosystem and providing tools and services to founders, which is why we love to partner with them. And what a lot of our Techstars companies get out of working with them is they're so hands-on and they want to help companies figure out how to build and learn. You don't get that with every blockchain, and you don't get that with every technology. And so, the idea of an open ecosystem is super invaluable for founders who are going to build the future and solve some of the biggest problems we're up against, but we need to help them to navigate it.
Makes sense. I was reading some of your writing, and one of the things you mentioned was this kind of existential threat of climate. And as someone who, again, is deploying capital and helping companies, do you think that is an area that the founders and entrepreneurs are going to start looking at to say, part of the way we solve this is through innovation and through new companies? Is that something you're starting to see?
Absolutely. So one thing that I'm care deeply about, especially after having a daughter, is oh my God, we're seeing things happen at an exponential rate, right. Extreme weather events specifically. And blockchain and AI are horrible for climate change because it requires a lot of data and a lot of energy output. And so we have to start thinking more creatively about how do we build more efficient systems. There are amazing things in the fields of AI around, for example, neuromorphic computing, which is a new type of artificial intelligence which mimics the way your brain thinks, and it's way more energy intensive. And so there are amazing technologists out there building these systems. We just have to really focus on it and put energy and resources behind it. The federal government is doing those things because it's so important, and we won't have any of these conferences in the future unless we have a world, so we need to focus on climate change.
So we should be seeing more and more of these things happen. And I guess my final question, we haven't talking a lot about payments, and I know that's sort of the lens through which you, Stellar, and MoneyGram are doing your Accelerator. And a lot of it seems to be about peer-to-peer and sort of how do we kind of take away where a lot of the additional fees keep piling on or the additional time keeps because it goes, banks have always controlled things in the ways that they have. What are your predictions for where the payment space is going to go in the next 2 or 3 years?
So we've seen a big shift with regards to the market. So a lot of investors are going away from B2C and focusing a lot on B2B, right? Consumer in the fintech world, payments or not, is just so hard to do. Mm-hmm. And I find that fascinating because I built a consumer business and it was really, really hard. And we struggled for all those reasons. And so I think we're moving towards a direction of probably more control, more bank-led control of our finances and payments because startups and innovators can build on top of those systems. But I think we'll kind of swing back, and there will be some true innovators that come out showing us a new path for consumer adoption, but we just haven't uncovered it yet. So I'm not sure what it will be, but I'm always looking for a really exciting B2C company because, you know, I think we can all agree, like, payments suck right now. Finances suck. It's not an enjoyable experience.
Right.
We're still trying to figure out what that looks like.
Well, and hopefully it comes through Techstars.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Tricia. It's been great talking to you.
Thanks so much.